الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. صلوا على رسول الله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد صلاة تفتح لنا أبواب الرضا والتيسير وتغلق بها عنا أبواب الشر والتعسير. أنت مولانا نعم المولى ونعم النصير. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا صالحا متقبلا يا رب العالمين. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. Continuing what we spoke about yesterday as intro to really a very important and highly specialized subject, the subject of Ahkām al-Qur'ān, legal rulings and fiqh from the Qur'an, taken from the first source, the Qur'an, Kalamullah Azza wa Jal. So the book that I mentioned yesterday, Nail al-Maram, Sheikh Siddiq Hassan Khan, from a royal lineage of the families of India, who used his wealth not to buy a Lamborghini and a Tesla new edition, he used it to serve his knowledge. This is what people of ilm, when they're blessed with wealth, they use it for, of course, knowledge. Sheikh Siddiq Hassan Khan, the first ayah he spoke about is ayah number 29 of Surah Al-Baqarah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, قال Allah ta'ala, وَالَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَّا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا ثُمَّ اسْتَوَى إِلَى السَّمَاءِ فَسَوَّاهُنَّ سَبْعَ سَمَاوَاتٍ وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Pay attention to the translation and then you think, what fiqh ruling could you take from this? Let's see if you can get it. He is the one who created everything in the earth for you. Then he turned towards the heaven, forming it into 7 heavens, and he has perfect knowledge of all things. إيش الحكم الفقهي? What is the hukum fiqhi here? Is it talking about wudu? No. Tahara, salah? Is it talking about hudud? Inheritance? Talaq? Nothing. What is it talking about then? It's setting a principle that will be needed by the student of knowledge for the rest of the Qur'an and for the entire study of fiqh. And this is a qa'idah fiqhiyah that the fuqaha derive from this ayah. Al-aslu fil ashya al-ibaha. Al-aslu al-ibaha al-asliyah. The default ruling of things is permissibility. Can I walk outside? Is there anything telling me it's haram? Can I drink? Can I breathe air? Can I drink water? Do I need proof from Qur'an to prove these things are all halal for me? Unless proven otherwise, everything is permissible. Can I go for a stroll? Yes. Can I look at you? Can you look at me? Inshallah, yes. Is there anything preventing us from doing so? Or is there any proof outside in the Sharia that is telling us that it's not allowed? No, okay, then everything is allowed. The general default ruling of things is that they are halal or haram. Muslims, they love to think everything is haram. Allah made everything haram, only few things halal. Habibi, everything is halal. The few things that are haram, you're supposed to avoid. But everything else, al-aslu fil ashya al-ibaha al-asliya, the default rulings of things that is permissible. Can you go ride a bike? Can you ride a scooter? Can you ride a skateboard? Can you play a tech deck? You can do all of these things. Al-ibaha al-asliya, habibi, ta'amal ay shay. Just don't go into what Allah has told you to stay away from. And what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَمَا أَتَاكُمُ الرَّسُولُ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَاكُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا. Okay? Surah Al-Baqarah is one of the most amazing surahs in the Quran. One of the most powerful, one of the greatest surahs of the Quran. Why? Because it's the longest surah of the Quran. 2.5 juz. Everything that you find in the Quran, you can find it in Surah Al-Baqarah. I promise you. Some of the mufassirun, you know what they did? Every ayah that they would do tafsir of throughout the Quran, they would tie it back to an ayah in which surah? Surah Al-Baqarah. Ibn al-Arabi, in his intro, he said that it has 1,000 awamir, 1,000 commands, 1,000 prohibitions, 1,000 akhbar. Baqarah is kul shay. That's why the mufassirun, when they want to show you their big muscles and big guns, when do they show it? In the end of the Quran or in the beginning? In the beginning. Why? Because if they can talk everything, they want to establish the qawa'id, the principles of tafsir and tarjih and all of the different concepts, are they going to keep repeating it? Or they're just going to repeat it in the beginning and then every time they'll just refer back to it? What are they going to do? Mention it in the beginning and then refer back to it. So if they explain to you what khalaqa means in the beginning in Surah Al-Baqarah, are they going to explain to you khalaqa later on? No, they're not. Because there's going to be repetition. Habibi, go look in the beginning of my book. Go look in the beginning of the tafsir. And then you'll see I've already explained all of these things. So that's why Surah Al-Baqarah, when a person really studies it, it's a big deal. Don't think it's small to just study Surah Al-Baqarah, or think it's small to memorize Surah Al-Baqarah. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma, say radiallahu anhuma. He's the son of who? You guys are sleeping. If nobody says Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, mushkila. Who's the son of Abu Bakr? Ibn Umar. Summer is, guys, come on, only first week of summer. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, you know how many years he spent studying Surah Al-Baqarah? 8 years. And we read it one sitting. Alhamdulillah, I know this surah. MashaAllah, you know everything. 8 years he spent studying it. Not studying it, just memorizing it. Parrots, they can also repeat things too. Children can also repeat things too. Really studying it for 8 years, and after that he did a walima. After that, he did a walima and he celebrated it. Why? Because this is something worth celebrating. So Sheikh Siddiq Hassan Khan in the subject of Ahkām al-Qur'ān, which I will be continuing doing forward inshallah, at least do all of Surah Al-Baqarah. هذا الغرض والنية يا رب يسر لنا سي آمين. اللهم وفقنا لما تحب وترضى. Ibn al-Arabi in his Ahkām al-Qur'ān, he chose 70 ayahs from Baqarah. Sheikh Siddiq Hassan Khan, he chose only 57. He chose 57 of them, okay? And so as I said, this surah really is the anchor for the rest of the Qur'an. You understand the ahkam of Surah Al-Baqarah, you understand much of the rest of the Qur'an. Doesn't mean you forget the rest of the Qur'an. You still give that importance, but Surah Al-Baqarah should be a part of our routine. Should be a part of our routine. So going back to the qa'idah fiqhiyya, that legal maxim that's established in this ayah. How is it established? Who's huwa? Huwa alladhi khalaqa lakum. He created for who? All of us. What? ما في الأرض جميعا. ما في الأرض جميعا. How would you translate that? He is the one who created everything in the earth for you. He is the one who created everything in the earth for you. جميعا من ألفاظ العموم. So if he created everything for you, does that mean he made it haram for you? He made it allowed for you. He made it allowed for you. So from this, the ulama take that legal maxim, al-aslu fil ashya' al-ibaha, hatta ya'ti al-dalil or yadull al-dalil ala al-tahrim, until a dalil, another proof comes external to show you that it's haram. Okay? For example, can I eat an apple? Do I need a proof from the sunnah says you are allowed to eat apple? Do I need a proof that I can say I can eat banana? Or I need chiku? They don't have chiku here, but they have chiku in India, Pakistan. Do they have Bangladesh chiku? Yeah, chiku is a good fruit. It's very sweet. They have chiku kulfi also. Maybe you can have the real chiku, but go get chiku kulfi at least. Can you eat these things? Can I use the technology? Can I drive a car? Do you need a proof from the Sharia every single time to do anything in your life? Al-aslu fil ashya' al-ibaha. Everything is allowed unless you have a ruling otherwise telling you that it's not permissible. But people misuse this. Someone will tell them, this is haram, brother. He said, no, everything is halal. You have to give me proof. Habibi, there's so many proofs. Your problem is you don't know the proofs, so you keep saying everything is halal. Al-aslu fil ashya' al-ibaha, people misuse this legal maxim as well. Can you eat from McDonald's and say, al-aslu fil ashya' al-ibaha? Can you do that? No, you cannot. You know that in Islam you have to do proper dhabiha. Kulu min at-tayyibat. Yeah, you have to eat from the tayyibat. You have to eat with the proper hand slaughter. You have to eat with the tasmiyah, or even if you take the Shafi'i madhab, but you have to eat halal. So same thing, you cannot just misuse this qa'idah fiqhiyya and throw it on everything. Oh, I can smoke cigarettes. Al-aslu fil ashya' al-ibaha. Oh, I can do this. That's not how it works. But the default ruling for things, walking, drinking, this, that is halal. You don't need it's mubah. You don't need a ruling to tell you. You don't need the shari' to come and tell you every single time that this is okay, this isn't okay. This is a general legal maxim. But as Ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullahi alayhi comments, he says, al-aslu fil ashya' al-ibaha, yes, but al-aslu fil ibadat at-tawqif. when it comes to matters related to ibadat and how you worship Allah, it's not everything is allowed. No, no. Then it comes what you follow what has been sent down. Can anyone come and say Maghrib 4 rak'ahs? No. Because when it comes to ibadat, then you follow what Allah and His Messenger ﷺ came with. Not from you what you think is allowed. Al-aslu fil ibadat at-tawqif. Imam al-Shatibi also comments on this legal maxim in detail. Imam al-Qurtubi in his tafsir, he says in regards to this ayah under it, he said, استدل من قال إن أصل الأشياء التي ينتفع بها الإباحة بهذه الآية. And also, وَسَخَّرَ لَكُم مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. Allah has made everything for you, so it's permissible. The default ruling of things is permissibility. Say with me, al-aslu fil ashya al-ibaha. The original ruling of all things, the default ruling in all things is that it's permissible unless there's a reason or a proof otherwise. Imam al-Suyuti, he also comments on this and he says, استدل به أو استدل به على أن الأصل في الأشياء الإباحة إلا ما ورد الشرع بتحريمه. Unless there is a proof from the Sharia telling you it's haram. Other than that, the default ruling of things is permissibility. This is very important. Why did Sheikh Siddiq Hassan Khan bring this ayah first? Would you read this ayah ever and think that there's a hukum that could be derived from it? Many of us would not think of it. I know how many times I've read this ayah in salah, I would never think that this would be a derived hukum from it. Why? Because the ulama, they're looking deep. Al-aslu fil ashya' al-ibaha, from this ayah, huwa alladhi khalaqa lakum ma fil ardi jami'a. You would think this ayah, of course, is talking about how Allah has done so much for us. He's done everything. Huwa alladhi khalaqa lakum ma fil ardi jami'a. But there's also rulings being derived from these types of ayat. Again, showing you how deep the scholars look into the Qur'an. And then he continues on for another hukum fiqhi. What other ruling from Sharia could you take from this ayah? He is the one who created everything in the earth for you. هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُمْ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. What is in the earth, not the earth itself. هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُمْ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَيْسَ الْأَرْضِ. It's an interesting way to look at it, but then he says this is a proof, or could be used as an added proof. Could be used as an added proof to show the impermissibility of eating dirt. The impermissibility of eating dirt, because Allah said, "Huwa alladhi khalaqa lakum ma fil ard." So it could be used as an added dalil and proof to show the Can you eat dirt? Do you get nutrition from dirt? I hope nobody eats dirt. They say in English, if you're eating dirt, means that you're losing. Eat dirt when they play soccer, right? It means lose. But can you eat dirt? Do you see anybody eating dirt? Inshallah, no. And then Imam al-Shawkani in Fath al-Qadir, he comments, he says, وَأَمَّا التُّرَابِ فَقَدْ وَرَدَ فِي السُّنَّةِ أَيْضًا تَحْرِيمُهُ. Even in the sunnah it came that you're not allowed to just eat dirt. Is there any nutritional value you're getting from it? Could it bring harm to you actually, eating dirt? Yeah. So this on top of the ayah, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ, is also used as a proof of the impermissibility of eating dirt, of turab. Okay? So the study of Ahkām al-Qur'an, it must be paired with an understanding of usul al-fiqh. And let me say this, don't ever think that you're at a level too low to understand these higher, more advanced topics, because I promise you, if you pay attention, you will be able to understand how the scholars engage with our tradition. Okay? I'll give an example. Imam al-Shafi'i rahmatullahi alayhi, whenever the scholars of the past, whenever they read the book of Allah, they didn't just read it for barakah. Like we read Qur'an, barakah, barakah, barakah. We want to produce parrots, children who memorize Qur'an, but then we don't want to produce children who actually understand and live by the Qur'an. This is a marad that we've seen muntashir jiddan in our American institutions, unfortunately. I have had friends, and this is someone who grew up here, friends who memorized Qur'an, they left Islam. They left Islam. Hafiz, ahfaz minni wa mink. Yes, why? Because it wasn't with iman in the heart. It's not just about hifz al-Qur'an, it's also about adab. Is there any point if you have hafiz of Qur'an, ma indahu adab? Is there any point of hafiz Qur'an, he doesn't have adab, he doesn't know how to talk to his parents, he doesn't know how to talk to his teachers, he doesn't know how to enter the masjid, he doesn't know the proper ahkam of wudu, tahara, salah? Is there any point of that? There is no point in that, brothers. The point is amal. The jamal of ilm is islah al-amal. We spoke about it, Shaykh Awama's advice. The beauty of knowledge is in when it's practiced, not just read. And so Imam Shafi'i and the scholars of our past, they had this type of deep relationship in the book of Allah Azza wa Jal. And he was asked one time, he was asked, Ya Imam, what is the evidence from the Qur'an of the scholarly consensus? What are the major sources of our Sharia? Qur'an, what else? Sunnah, what else? Ijma', qiyas. The people of bid'ah, they don't have problem with ijma'. They might have some problems with sunnah, but they'll say we accept sunnah. The real problem occurs with ijma', scholarly consensus. Why? Because if there's some level of ambiguity with the verses and the ahadith, they start to play with what? The interpretation. How? وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا. Don't even come close to zina. They'll say, oh, but they didn't have contraceptions then, and they didn't have the methods of protection that we have existing now. We have different ways of protecting, so no problem. Is this valid? But you tell him, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا. He says, and then he gives you this. The best way to answer them, ijma'. The ulama have consensus, the ummah has consensus that zina is haram. That zina is haram. Or for example, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَشْرِقُ وَالْمَغْرِبِ. He'll tell you, for Allah is the whole world. Why? I don't need to face the Kaaba. I don't need to face the Kaaba. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَشْرِقُ وَالْمَغْرِبِ. You tell him, Ijma' al-Muslimin, Ijma' al-Ulama. There is consensus of the ulama and the ummah that you pray towards which direction? The Kaaba. We don't care what you have to say. Because what? No, but there's this ayah. No, we don't care what you have to say about an ayah. No, but there's this hadith. We don't care what you have to say about this. Because there is scholarly consensus. You cannot come here and change. Somebody will come and say, oh, I have a proof that Maghrib is 4 rakahs. We'll say, Jazakallahu khairan. There is a psych ward not too far away. Inshallah, we can send you an Uber over there. But we're not going to change Maghrib from 3 to 4. Mustahil. Mustahil. Why? What's the proof? Ijma'. So Imam Shafi'i was asked, where is the proof of ijma' in the Qur'an? He said, subhanallah, what a great question. And so he went and he sat with the book of Allah and he read it for several days until he came with the answer. He went back and he came with the ayah, وَمَن يُشَاقِقِ الرَّسُولَ مِن بَعْدِ مَا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ الْهُدَى وَيَتَّبِعْ غَيْرَ سَبِيلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. And he follows a way of other than the believers. نُوَلِّهِ مَا تَوَلَّى وَنُصْلِهِ جَهَنَّمْ. Meaning if you go against the consensus of the believers, the consensus of the ummah, the consensus and the agreement of all of the ulama, then you are following the wrong path. You are going against ijma'. You are going against Islam. You're going against what the Shari' has intended. You see? نُوَلِّهِ مَا تَوَلَّى وَنُصْلِهِ جَهَنَّمْ. Imam Shafi'i, he derived this from the Qur'an. Again, Ahkām al-Qur'an. Having this deep look into the Qur'an. Shaykh Siddiq Hassan Khan in Nail al-Maram, he later, from ayah 29, he then goes to ayah 83. He goes to ayah 83 and then comments on the ahkam related to it. The ayah, وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ لَا تَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينَ وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ ثُمَّ تَوَلَّيْتُمْ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِنْكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ مُعْرِضُونَ. And remember, anytime you have إِذْ in the Quran, وَإِذْ قَالَ وَإِذْ, there is always a mahdhuf taqdiruhu وَذْكُرْ إِذْ. And remember when, and remember if. And remember when we took a covenant from the children of Israel, the children of Israel, stating what? This is with who? Banu Israel. Worship none but Allah. Be kind to parents, relatives, orphans, and the needy. Speak kindly to people, establish prayer, and pay alms tax. But you Israelites turned away except for a few, and were indifferent. So, al-amr yaqtadi al-wujub. We know in usul al-fiqh that if there is a command, the asl of that command would be what? An obligation. If Allah commands you to do something, what should you understand from that? That it's an obligation. Unless there is a reason or a qarina, sarifa, or is a reason otherwise for you to believe something else. Okay? Like if someone, he's mad at you, and then you tell him, take a hike. You're not telling him, go take a hike. You're telling him, get out of my face. You see, so not every command should be taken literally. But in the book of Allah Azza wa Jalla, if you see a command and there's no other reason for you to see it otherwise, Then when Allah tells the people of Jahannam, ذُوقُوا عَذَابَ الْخُلْدِ, He's telling them, go do it right now. He's telling them, just like you pray for salah, you go eat the adhab of khuld. Astaghfirullah. This is Allah's punishing them. Allah is warning them. This is هذا للتهديد. Okay? So over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us several rulings that are established in their sharia, in the nations before, and established in our nation. You know, one of the beautiful things for Muslims to ponder over are things that existed within their sharia, within the nations before and the prophets before, that also exist in ours. And the rulings that they didn't have, that we have. The rulings that they had, that we have, and the rulings that they didn't have and we have, and what they had and we don't have. When you start to think about this, you start to see, subhanAllah, the era of prophets, how it differed from one to another. Like the detailed rulings of ahkam of awrah and hijab. Did it exist in the time of the prophets before? No. It exists in our sharia. Why? Because Allah wanted. Anta Muslim, ana Muslim, we submit to Allah. You know when they look into the wisdoms behind ahkam fiqhiyah, when they look behind the hikam of ahkam fiqhiyah, the real hikmah, the real wisdom, and the real reasoning behind all fiqh rulings is because Allah said so. Someone might say it might be for XYZ reason. That might be an additive thing that a person might use in order to convince themselves. But the reality is, when you do something because Allah said it, you do it why? Because Allah said so. So if someone says, what's the wisdom behind hijab? They'll say, oh, in order to protect the fitna, and because, men are... Habibi, women wear hijab because Allah said so. Women wear hijab because Allah said so. These other reasons that they might mention could be just perhaps to convince, but the real reason behind you're doing ghadd al-basar, and they're doing this, and they're doing this, and whatever ahkam you might think of, is because we do istislam, we submit to our Creator. What He says, we do. Wabas. And why is this important? Because ahkam change from time to time. If we look just at the reasoning, thana'ullah, if we just look at the reasoning, then did that reason exist in the time of Musa, yes or no? Yeah, it did. But the hukum didn't exist. So you don't look at those reasonings because it didn't exist then. Why does it exist now? You see where I'm getting at? So, what are some of the rulings established in this ayah? لا تعبدون إلا الله. Tawheed, of course, in that time. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. You have to have ihsan towards your parents. That goodness towards your parents exists in their sharia, exists in our sharia. This is wajib, fard upon you. You have to have ihsan towards your parents. وَذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى. And Imam al-Jassas, he says what? يَدُلُّ عَلَى تَأْكِيدِ حَقِّ الْوَالِدَيْنِ وَوُجُوبِ الْإِحْسَانِ إِلَيْهِمَا. You must show ihsan towards them, only if they're Muslims or even if they're kafir. You have to be good to your parents if they're non-Muslims, or you have to be bad to them? No matter what, you have to be good to them. أيوة, تمام. مسلمين أو كافرين. Okay? لأنه قرنه إلى الأمر بعبادته عز وجل. He first mentioned him, and then he mentioned the parents. And also, the obligation that your family that you have towards your family as well. Silatul Rahim. Now Eid is coming up. We have family obligation as well. We have those social responsibilities towards the yatama, towards the poor, towards orphans. This is a wajib upon the Muslims. Okay? Jassas, he says, يَدُلُّ عَلَى وُجُوبِ صِلَةِ الرَّحِمِ وَالْإِحْسَانِ إِلَى الْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ. You see how the fuqaha, they're looking at these ayat that we take as just targhib, as just motivators, but they're not just motivators. Allah is expecting things from you. Allah is expecting things from me. Okay? And وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. When you speak good, speak good. Don't speak evil. Don't curse. Don't do ghiba. Don't do all of those things. Okay? وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ. The obligation of salah and zakah. So you see how, subhanallah, Sheikh Siddiq Hassan Khan is now finding all of these rulings by looking at these verses that we've read hundreds of times, but we never stop to think that there is more to the ayah. There is something expected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why is fiqh important? Why is the study of fiqh important?
Do the mistake, you do the wrong. You sure you have to live?
How can you live without fiqh? How do you know what Allah wants unless you study fiqh?
وَمَا خَلَقَتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. You and I are only created to worship Him, not worship Him ala kayfi wa kayfak. As intended by Allah and as taught by our beloved Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as codified within the madhahib fiqhiyah and preserved through the tradition of the scholars and our ulama. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us tawfiq ya Rabbil Alameen, to grant us fiqhan fi d-din. Man yuridillahu bihi khayran yufaqihu fi d-din. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us deep understanding of the religion. If Allah gives you understanding of the deen, then know that He wants good for you. If your understanding of the deen is zero, then know that there's something wrong. Ya Allah, Allahumma aftah alayna futuh al-arifin. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabina wa habibina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.